and to take care of ourselves and one another.
Okay, my name is Betsy Rui, and I represent Metro Council District 21, and the airport is in the heart of my district. And first, I would like to thank all the leadership of the first responders behind us and all the first responders out there in the field. This is what you all train for. I'm sad that we have to actually use all your training, but I'm glad that you have it. And my heart goes out to everybody at UPS, because this is a UPS town. My cousin's a UPS pilot. My aide's tennis partner is a UPS pilot. The intern in my office works overnight at UPS to pay for college. We all know somebody who works at UPS, and they're all texting their friends, their family, trying to make sure everyone is safe. Sadly, some of those texts are probably going to go unanswered. My heart goes out to those families and those friends. And thank you.
I want to acknowledge we also have our FBI special agent in charge with us today. Are grateful for her participation. With that, I'll open it up to questions, but a couple things. I'm not going to speculate about the cause. That's for the NTSB to determine, and do not want to interfere in that in any way. And the other thing I'd say is we'll get more information on the numbers of fatalities. We'll get more information on the number of injuries. Know that information is fluid. I would tell you, after the tornado in Mayfield, I was standing outside of a factory where I was sure 100 people were dead. And we ended up only losing 13, and that's a lot of people. But pray. It works. It helps. Let's pray that the number of Kentuckians or any other folks that we lost stays as low as possible. With that, if you have questions, I'll do my best. I don't believe, yeah.
So we do not know of anybody that are trapped, but the units on scene, as I said, we're trying to surround and contain that. As we move in, we're searching every building, every area. And like Director Myman mentioned, all the buildings that are outside of that immediate hazard zone are being searched as well to make sure that those are clear and safe.
If you see the live images that thankfully emergency management can get, you see these heroic firefighters moving from building to building to building as fast as they can, because if somebody's trapped, they're going to get to them. Yeah.
Yeah, so right now it's from the airport, basically from the airport or right around the outer loop area, north. If you live in Jefferson County and you're in that, I know that's a circle that's on the screen up there behind you guys, but you know, we're thinking anybody north of that, we hope to be able to narrow that down as accurate plume modeling is taking place, and it should be done now. So we may be able to reduce that even more, that footprint even more here just in the next couple of hours. Right now, that's it. The smoke, for the most part, is going up into the atmosphere and going north. We've also been in touch with our partners from Clark County, Indiana, because some of the smoke is going towards them as well. So they're making decisions. So if you live on the other side of the river, please make sure that you're paying attention. If there is any notifications that are going out over there, make sure you're paying attention to those as well.
And there's a lot of numbers we're getting from the fire chief. I think he said 220,000 gallons. It's 220,000 pounds, which is about 38,000 gallons. So he remembered those numbers a lot better than I would without them written down. All right, anybody else? Yeah. We have not received information we can confirm on their status. From the videos that I've seen, I'm very concerned for them. But again, I'm still praying. Because I've seen people make it out of things in these last 6 years that I didn't think were possible. We'll have more information soon, and we'll also want to make sure before we confirm anyone specific is deceased that we've talked to their family, who deserve to hear that information first. Yeah, we'll get that information out. Depending on how much news there is, we may be able to get it out on social media or release directly, but we'll work with our news partners, knowing that this is information that people want and need, and please direct any questions to us. But we don't currently have another one scheduled yet. We'd want to make sure we had enough information that came in to warrant it. So the airport is going to have their press conference here right when we're done and are going to start addressing that. What I'd say, even with somebody who's supposed to have a flight here soon, is they should only do it when it's safe. And this is a great airport that I've used a lot. I trust their leadership, and I'll look forward to hearing what they have to say. All right, thank you all very much. And again, tough day for Louisville, tough day for Kentucky, tough day for this region. We are strong people. I've seen it time and time again, flooding, tornadoes, shootings. That's the last time I drove here this fast to make sure I got here. We've always banded together. We will again. Let's make sure before anything else, we put the families of those that are lost, the families of those that we're worried about first. They deserve it. Let's make sure we pray for them and we support them with everything we have. Thank you, Kentucky.
And you've just been listening to Governor Andy Beshear giving an update on the fatal UPS plane that crashed at around 5:15 this evening at the Louisville airport. And we do want to let you know that United Way is offering shelter to anyone impacted. You can call 502-376-6617, 376-6617.
3 dead, 11 injured, and some of those serious. So the governor said he expects the death toll to rise in this case. Great Lane took the brunt of the explosions afterwards. Kentucky Petroleum Recycling took that direct hit, and we're told that there were a lot of people in that facility. They were closing up, and that's why people were in the office. That's when they collect their money. That facility takes oil and antifreeze and recycles it. Also, Grade 8 Auto Parts was also one of those structures that was hit directly. So our thoughts and prayers to all of the victims, their families, and we're still going to wait on word about the names of who died. But just a horrible set of circumstances today.
And the airport is expected to give an update on their end as well at about 8:15. So in just a few minutes, hang here with us. The NTSB is in charge of this investigation now and will be on the scene, we're told, here very soon. The governor did point out no specifically hazardous cargo on that plane, but the impact and where this crash happened did cause and spark that shelter in place because there could still be explosions, as he mentioned. He also asked people to stay away from the area, do not go to the crash scene. Several emergency departments were dispatched, including Okolona first on the scene.
He gave a big shout out to Okolona, said first one's there to help out.
Yeah, they were there pretty quickly, and then that was followed by departments as far away as Lexington. He mentioned the Lexington Fire Department, but they did also mention that there are other emergencies that are happening as this big emergency is happening, and they have called in other officials who typically have the day off to come in and cover shifts.
Okay, and you see that building right there? That is a UPS facility, and you can see that either the fuselage of the plane or a part of the plane just carved right through that building. That is a UPS building, and then farther on, you can see off Grade Lane, that is the petroleum, Kentucky Petroleum and Recycling. That was the first initial blaze, and just by the name, petroleum in there with all the flammables that they have, that caused some of those additional explosions, plus all of the fuel that was on board that plane.
Yeah, he did mention the 3 fatalities. 3 people are confirmed dead, 11 injuries, but they did also mention that the governor did expect those numbers to grow as the night continues. They're still in that initial phase of fighting the fire and assessing the scene and going door to door to make sure people are okay, and going through buildings that have been impacted and cars that have been impacted to make sure there are not people in some of those buildings and cars. They're still working to confirm that some of the businesses that were hit, that people are okay, customers are okay, which it's kind of a chaotic time right now for everybody.
Yeah. Let's go to our Norman Seawright, who has been on scene. Norman, what can you shed? What kind of light can you shed for us on this?
Well, Rick, we are waiting just shortly. We'll be starting to hear from officials here at the Louisville Regional Airport Authority just about where this investigation is starting, where it's going. A lot of questions we still need to have answered. But, of course, all of everyone's thoughts right now are with everyone who has been affected by this tragic crash today. You think about an airline, you think about an industry like this, aviation, they very much talk about the souls on board. So when you talk about crew members, you may talk about souls. And this is something that really they internalize all this stuff. I mean, a lot of sources of mine are just distraught about this event today. They want answers just like we do. And as I said, we will be going inside here just shortly, and we will be getting some updates on this investigation, where it starts, where it goes from here, Rick. But that is where we are right now.
Right, live for us. Thank you so much. And again, we want to talk about the shelter in place that's still in effect. Initially, it was 5 miles, and then it was expanded. It's been brought back in a little bit. Jay Cardoso, you've been tracking everything that's been happening as far as the radar goes. You were able to pinpoint exactly when this happened from your radar.
Yeah. I mean, we go back to just after 5 o'clock today. We were talking about the beautiful weather out there. We were talking about, you know, the beautiful fall colors. Had a tower cam shot, and we noticed in the upper left-hand portion of the tower cam shot, all of a sudden this huge smoke plume. It's like, what in the world is going on? And sure enough, just a couple of minutes later, the radar lit up, a smoke plume lit up right near the international airport, and it carried its way off to the north. Hence the shelter in place. Here's the very latest I have for you graphically. You can see it from Louisville International up to near Jeffersonville. It still covers a pretty good chunk of real estate for the downtown area of Louisville. Again, we want you to stay inside, shut the windows. The Health Department is saying that the ACs and the furnaces should stay off until this thing is lifted. As a matter of fact, Jennifer, Rick, we received an email from a viewer in Salem, Indiana, saying that she can now smell the jet fuel all the way up into Salem. I mean, that's 30 miles off to the north, and she's saying it's a pretty stout smell too. So it just goes to show you the wind has really pushed some of those fumes, those odors, if you will, farther and farther off to the north. The good news, guys, is that the plume itself has dissipated. At least I don't have it on radar. It actually dissipated about an hour and a half ago. So hopefully we'll continue to clear out the atmosphere and we can lift this shelter in place in relatively short order. But I have a feeling it's going to be left, if you will, in place for quite some time, just to make sure, as that was one horrific scene. Guys, let's send it back to you.
Yeah, and it's still burning right now, Jay.
That's right.
It's terrible.
So anything from the outer loop north, all the way even extended. Mike Moore over in Jeffersonville also put a shelter in place. TARC is not working. The airport is virtually shut down. 3 fatalities, 11 people injured. This plane crash, a UPS plane, was headed to Honolulu, attempting to take off when something went wrong. One of the engines caught fire, and it never got off the ground and slammed into Kentucky Petroleum Recycling, and that set off a massive explosion, and then that was followed by subsequent explosion.
The governor just gave us an update, and he said he did not have the statuses of the 3 crew members that were told that were on board. However, he did say that there were 3 deaths involved in this and 11 fatalities, or 11 injured, 3 deaths, and they do expect those numbers to grow. We do want to mention also that there the officials mentioned that they may have to knock out the power as they continue to work on this scene. So if your power goes out, you live in this area, don't worry, it'll come back on. This is just a working scene. They're still in the initial assessment phase of this, and they're working to make sure that people are still not needing rescue. They're still unsure. It's the beginning of all of this.
Well, I keep going back to the Givaudan explosion. They did not know that there was the fatality in that situation. There could have been people, like you said, in their cars, in those businesses, leaving those businesses. Also, LMPD on Taylor Boulevard at their training academy has set up a victim reunification. So if one of your loved ones was one of those injured, they have a reunification area set up at the LMPD training facility.
Yeah, we were expecting a update from the airport around 8:15. That has since been moved to 9 o'clock as officials are working to gather more information. This video that you're seeing now was the scene shortly after it happened. This was a very massive scene there. And one of the officials that spoke at the 7:30 press conference described it, I think, in a perfect manner. She said it was a sad and heavy occasion, and this is going to be something that affects a lot of Louisville. UPS is a huge employer here in Louisville. We call ourselves a UPS town, and everybody knows somebody who has either worked at Louisville or does work at UPS or has worked at UPS. Okay. It's a huge employer.
Yes, and once again, if we can see that video, if you have that queued up, of the plane coming, attempting to take off, coming down the runway. Apparently, it was making enough noise that it alerted one of the workers that was on the side there, and got the phone and recorded as the plane was barreling. Here it is, barreling down the runway with one of those engines on fire. I was told that one of the engines actually did fall off, and then shortly after,
right there, the
explosion. And that set off those massive fires that stretches. I might even be short on the estimate. I said a quarter to a third of a mile down the road there. It might even be a half mile, but a lot of businesses involved in that. Kentucky Petroleum Recycling took the biggest hit. Grade A Auto Parts also hit. There's Stooges is also a watering hole for a lot of people. Right. It was right in the line of fire, but we were told that everyone in there was okay.
Yeah,
we hope that is the case. But
they're still assessing the scene there, and that's another reason why they're asking people to stay away, that there could still be explosions. Hopefully not. We just received word from LMPD. They're asking people, if you are looking for a loved one, to check on their status. Do not go to local hospitals looking for loved ones. Hospitals are not equipped to handle the family reunification part of this during this type of emergency. Instead, LMPD is asking families and friends to report to the family reunification area at the LMPD training facility that is located at 2911 Taylor Boulevard. You'll be able to find out if your loved one that you're looking for is okay or not. They're going to provide a safe and organized environment there for families looking to connect with accurate information. There's a lot of information out there right now, as is typical with this kind of scene.
That is the LMPD Training Academy. It's out by Churchill Downs, if you're not familiar with that area.
And LMPD is also asking people to avoid the area. Grade Lane shut down indefinitely, along with some other roads there along the airport.
Okay, so that sets the stage for us, and it has been a horrible day. And like we were talking about Louisville International before, when it was Stanford Field, relatively quiet. The last accident out there was a UPS plane in 2005. That's how far back you have to go. And then to Stanford Field in 1970. But we keep getting reminded. We saw what happened at Reagan National with that big crash there. Remember the plane that crashed up at the Bluegrass Airport. So, I mean, when it happens, it's devastating, and our community was devastated today.
Again, NTSB is now in charge of this investigation. The governor says officials from the NTSB will be here on the scene very soon. The governor also pointed out there no specifically hazardous cargo on this UPS plane, but the impact, again, where it happened, some of the buildings and the areas there, kind of what sparked this shelter in place that's happening right now, which initially was just 5 miles, and again, it's grown, expanded, and they're trying to bring it in as they contain this scene.
And plus, it may not have been the cargo, but it was loaded. The tank was full. They were heading to Honolulu on this flight. So, some 40,000 gallons of fuel weighing 280,000 pounds. For instance, it might strike you, but fuel is lighter than water. A gallon of water weighs 8.3 pounds, but a gallon of that jet fuel, about 6.7, 6.8. is what that weighs.
I'll give you a better idea of that shelter in place. So anything north of the airport to the Ohio River, South Louisville, Old Louisville, downtown, and also including Jeffersonville, as they're seeing some of that smoke there.
No TARC service tonight because of the shelter in place. And the airport is shut down. So flights, nobody's coming in and nobody's leaving tonight as well.
Yeah, they said the TSA security checkpoint is temporarily closed. Check your status of your flight with your airline. Also, the governor mentioned Ford. LAP was not hit, but they did lose power for a short period of time and had to shelter in place there as well.
Okay, so that's the way we're waiting to hear from the airport to get a further update on. They'll give us the nuts and the bolts on the technicalities of initially what they know of what went wrong with the engine on takeoff and what went wrong with that aircraft, which was a MD-11. McDonnell Douglas MD-11 airplane.
And the UPS did release a statement just a short time ago, just to kind of reiterate what happened. At approximately 5:20 tonight, a UPS flight 2976 from Louisville, we now know, was headed to Honolulu, Hawaii. You mentioned an MD-11 with 3 crew members on board involved in the accident in Louisville. They have not confirmed any injuries or casualties at this time, but the governor did confirm that 3 people have passed away in this crash. We're still waiting to confirm any other injuries or fatalities, which the governor did expect those numbers to grow.
And kudos to the Okolona Fire Department. They were close by. They were first on scene. Fairdale's just a little south of that as well. All hands on deck helping Louisville firefighters. They had their hands full tonight with this massive fire. There's a video of the debris, the runway and the debris, and Chopper Bill was telling us that he could see some of the signs and lights that were set up along the runway were knocked down, indicating to him that that plane, once that engine caught fire, veered off of the runway for some reason. But we'll have to wait till the NTSB completes its full investigation to know exactly what happened.
And Jody Myman with Louisville Metro Emergency Services mentioned that they're monitoring the air right now, as they do with any situation like this, to make sure that it's okay. And they'll continue to do that before they lift that shelter in place, which we expect to last for a while here, as they're still fighting flames there on the scene. This is still what's called the life safety. They were talking about 3 phases when you respond to a situation like this, and they're still in that initial phase, which I think they called life safety, where they make sure that people are okay who may be there at the scene or affected on the scene, checking cars and buildings and making sure people are okay.
We do want to send a heartfelt, just a prayer and the thoughts to the 11 victims that are still fighting for their life. The governor said he expects the death toll to rise in this, and let's hope that is not the case. Let's keep the faith.
Well, he said some of those injuries were very, quote, very significant injuries.
Well, the Kentucky Petroleum took that big hit, but while they're still alive, let's keep, let's hope for the best in this, is what I'm trying to say. So keep them in your thoughts and prayers for the families that are involved tonight.
Yeah, you mentioned 2 businesses. So the main area beyond the crash, 2 businesses, Kentucky Petroleum Recycling, Grade A Auto Parts, and they said that may be some time before they can actually account for everyone, including customers in those businesses. They're still working on that life assessment to make sure everybody's okay. Still a lot to go here.
And that recycling center, they deal in stuff and recycle oil and antifreeze. And so, anytime you have a petroleum product, the fire officials, they're dealing with not just a structural fire, they're dealing with, petroleum that's burning, so it's a whole different animal. But look at the fire, how that stretches.
To give you a
mile,
gauge,
third of a mile.
Yeah, just how big this response was. They said they had every single emergency response department on scene: Louisville, Lexington, Fern Creek, PRP, Fairdale, J-Town, Airport, Fire and Police, LMPD, the Sheriff, Shively, EMS, MSD, LG&E. I'm sure I'm missing some, but this was kind of a statewide response here for this massive event.
It's going to make you feel good that they were all of us come together, and you know, what a year. I mean, you had the tornadoes and
yeah,
you had the flooding. I mean, those were natural disasters, and then Governor Beshear's dealing with another tragedy, and we hope to hear from Mayor Greenberg. He was out of town. Once he gets back into town, you know, his heart is pumping 100 miles a minute.
I said he'll be back around 9.
It'd be back at
Tonight,
9. We'll hear from him,
o'clock.
get an update from him on the situation. We're still waiting from the airport to hear from them.
And also United Way offering shelter to anyone impacted by what's happened here. You can call 502-376-6617. TARC services suspended indefinitely. We'll let you know when that's back up and running. And the shelter in place still in place. Everything north of the airport there. And Jeffersonville. Let's check in with Jay Cardosi. Jay, that shelter in place north of Louisville, Old Louisville.
Yeah. I've been monitoring everything, too. I have no new information on that, but I'm watching everything like a hawk. The shelter in place is still the same. The international airport up to the Ohio River to near Jeffersonville, technically. But as I talked about, we're getting emails and notifications from people even farther north, 20, 30 miles north, that they're starting to get the fumes in those areas. One example is Salem. Had an email from a viewer up there saying, and it's a pretty stout smell too. So, and the reason why, well, the wind. It is starting to pick up. It is now coming in from the south. It's been relatively light for much of the day, but we have a storm system on the way for later tomorrow. It's a cold front. It's going to come through quiet tomorrow night, but out ahead of it, the wind is starting to increase in all depths of the atmosphere as we move deeper into the night. So these south winds that have been very light for the better part of the day, the afternoon, will start to increase. So hopefully the officials out there, the firefighters, we can continue to, contain all of this mess, if you will, and get things under control before those winds start to pick up. And that should happen a little bit later on tonight. In earnest after midnight, and we're talking about some gusty winds as we push into and through tomorrow from the south and also the southwest. But yeah, as it stands right now, the shelter in place still there from the international airport up through downtown Louisville to near Indian Hills, Jeffersonville, the Ohio River area, and then it discontinues the farther north you go. But we do have those emails coming in from those viewers saying, hey, I smell it up here as well. And the health department, if you are in the shelter in place, if you're in that zone, they're asking that you please shut off your AC, your furnace, keep the windows shut until this thing has been lifted, which hopefully that will happen a little bit later on tonight. Guys, let's send it back.
Thanks, Jay. Well, Governor Beshear gave us an update about an hour ago. Let's recap that and play Governor Beshear's address to the Commonwealth.
At approximately 5:14 p.m. Eastern Time tonight, UPS Flight 2976 from Louisville, Kentucky to Honolulu, Hawaii, an MD-11 with 3 crew members on board was involved in a catastrophic crash here in Louisville adjacent to our airport. UPS will be releasing more facts as available. The National Transportation Safety Board will be in charge of the investigation and will be on the scene shortly. They will be the primary source of the investigation as it continues in the days and in the weeks ahead. I can confirm that there was no specifically hazardous cargo on board of the plane that would create an environmental issue for those around the site, but the impact and where it impacted could create those types of situations. So please, if there is a shelter in place, follow it.
All right.
That was Governor Beshear, and we're waiting for for the mayor,
Airport
Greenberg,
officials.
to come back out here and the officials from the airport to give us an update on this. So let's reset and tell you, in case you're just joining us, at 5:14 today, that plane, that UPS plane, flight 2976, was attempting to take off headed to Honolulu.
Yeah, that's about an 8-hour and 38-minute flight for that plane. It was full of fuel. Something happened. You can see it right here in this video from a ground crew member who shot this video. You can see the initial crash right here, an explosion. Something happened as this plane was taking off and caused it to crash. And it also crashed into 2 buildings, according to the governor. That was UPS flight 2976 that crashed around 5:15 today. That's a McDonnell Douglas MD-11, again, headed to Honolulu. UPS confirmed there were 3 crew members on board, but we have not been able to confirm the status of those crew members. However, the governor did confirm there are 3 fatalities and 11 injuries, some of those severe injuries, and are being treated at University Hospital.
Well, we talked about the fuel. It had close to 40,000 gallons of fuel on board, plus it hit that petroleum recycling center. And that set off the massive explosions, and Grade A Auto Parts was another facility that was hit. Here's a map of the businesses. Okay, so there's Grade A in the bottom, petroleum, and then the west runway. You saw part of the one of the, I guess we call it a hangar at UPS Worldport, had a lot of damage to it, like the fuselage must have slammed into that building or a wing or something. But that's Grade Lane is where all of this damage is done, spread out there. The plane was headed south on the runway, so it was headed south out towards Okolona, Fairdale area. And so we're talking about Grade Lane, Fern Valley Road area, and 65, as you can see, is just close by.
And Grade Lane shut down indefinitely, and the governor pointed out no hazardous cargo was on board that UPS plane, but the impact where it crashed, the buildings and businesses affected are what sparked that shelter in place and some of those hazardous conditions. A lot of emergency departments from all over the state and city responded to this, as far away as Lexington. Again, 3 fatalities, 11 injuries. The governor described some very significant injuries, and he unfortunately expects those numbers to grow as they're in that initial life-saving phase of searching for anybody else who may be involved in this incident.
And we've heard a lot of people talking about the UPS family, and you know, they're woven into the fabric here in our community, and you no doubt know someone that is directly involved with UPS, a pilot or whatever. Let's keep them in our thoughts and prayers. There is a victim reunification site set up. It's at the LMPD training facility on Taylor Boulevard, 2911 Taylor Boulevard. Victim Services Unit and chaplains will be present there.
And Madison Elliott is there live now at that victim reunification area there at LMPD's training facility. Madison, what can you tell us about families who are there?
Hey, Rick and Jennifer. So we've seen some people coming in and out of the building. This is where LMPD is asking people to come. They are asking people to not go to local hospitals seeking your loved ones. That's because they say hospitals are not equipped to handle family reunification during this type of emergencies, and they're asking families to please report here. The training facility, we're at 2911 Taylor Boulevard. This is also the South Louisville Government Center here as well. And we've seen some people coming in and out. We haven't seen a lot of people just yet as we've been waiting outside the center. We are not allowed inside, so we are staying outside, hoping to get more information, but we do know currently right now this is where police are asking people to come, and we'll continue to stay here and bring you the very latest just on what families are experiencing tonight. Just a terrifying time, and our hearts really go out to all the families who are dealing with finding out loved ones may be injured or having trouble getting in contact with loved ones. So this would be a good place to come if you have not heard from a family member yet who you think could have been involved. This is where LMPD is asking people to come right now, and there are a lot of officers here and other people here who can help get some answers for you. But again, they're asking, do not go to the local hospitals as they are not equipped to handle family reunification during this type of emergency. Rick, Jennifer, I'll send it back to you.
Yeah, this is okay. Madison Elliott Live for us. Thank you so much. This is a terrible time for anybody who may be wondering where their loved one is, who may have been working or traveling in that area. I know I have a friend who husband is a pilot for UPS, said he was taking off around the same time, and it took some time for her to get a hold of that, of her husband. And I can't imagine what families and friends are going through right now in this terrible, difficult time.
You see some of the debris that's along the runway. Chopper Bill told us that he saw signs that the plane as it was barreling down the runway, trying to take off. Now, in addition to the fire in one of the engines, it was probably caused, but the plane was veered off of the runway, probably as a result of that fire in that engine. And that is the end result there. 3 fatalities, 11 injured, some very serious. And the governor said that, and let's hope that it doesn't happen, but he expects more fatalities to be announced.
And let's check in with DeAndrea Turner, who has been at University Hospital there for the latest on some of the people who may be being treated there. DeAndrea.
Hi, you guys. Yeah, I was at the hospital earlier today where they have a code yellow in effect, which means they are ready for disaster, and they have received some of those patients. I actually just left the governor's press conference, who, again, you guys have told everyone that, unfortunately, there have been 3 fatalities and 11 injuries, and the governor says that he is expecting more. This is a really heartbreaking time for our city, but one of the things that he really honed in on is how strong Louisville is and how strong Kentucky is and how we're really going to process this and get through this together. And again, crews are saying they're still in life-saving phases, doing everything to help those who are injured, making sure they're going door to door, knocking on people's homes, going through the businesses to ensure that they get people to safety. The plane was carrying 250,000 gallons of jet fuel, and no hazardous cargo was on board, but the location that the crash created dangerous conditions, including several explosions early on. Some of the officials say that because of those explosions, they couldn't get into the facility at first, but now they've been able to get inside. But that's the reason why the shelter in place is in effect, because it's not just for the sake of having a shelter in place in effect. It's really for everyone's safety. So if you are in that 5-mile radius, please stay inside. They are urging you to do that. Again, they have made headway on this fire, but they say that this is going to be an active scene for several days. The NTBS will lead this investigation moving forward. And again, if you live in this area, if you're in this area right now, please stay inside of your home. It is for your safety. There is a family reunification area, like Madison said, and people at the hospital, they are there, they're ready, they're in code yellow. And this is just going to be a tragic next couple of days for the city. But again, the governor said that we're going to make it and we're going to be strong.
Absolutely. All right. So once again, that plane carrying 250,000 pounds of fuel, that's equivalent of 41,000 gallons of fuel. Today it was getting ready to take off and had a long flight ahead to Honolulu.
Yeah, it was full of fuel, which was part of the reason that we saw that massive scene there, an explosion, multiple explosions. People were saying they heard after all of this happened. The main area hit there at the airport included 2 businesses, Kentucky Petroleum Recycling and Grade A Auto Parts, and officials were saying it may still be some time before they can account for everybody involved in both of those businesses, and they're still in that initial phase of responding to this scene.
UPS, one of its buildings, had significant damage, and we also saw a lot of trailers, a lot of semi-trailers that were in a big parking lot, so trucking companies, a lot of industrial stuff there, and that whole stretch there on Grade Lane just devastated. It's Great Lane, and then Crittenden wraps around the airport on the south side of it. It meets into Great Lane, and that's where we're talking about. Right there, Great Lane, Crittenden Drive. Then you go up a little bit, and it's Fern Valley.
And Ford LAP was not impacted by this. However, officials did say that they did lose power for a bit, and they did have to shelter in place there for some time. And we do know that LG&E has responded to this scene, and the governor said they may have to knock out power to folks who are around this airport area for some time, but it'll come back on as they work to respond to this scene here.
Well, you mentioned that you said you had a friend who had some pilots that were taking off about that same time. There were some folks that we talked to that were from Boston that were flying to Louisville, and let's hear what they had to say and what they saw.
All we saw was someone, the passenger in front of us.
Yeah.
Because they kept on saying, hold off, hold off, hold off. And then we said, what's all that smoke, you know? And we noticed the smoke coming in the sky.
We could see it through our windows of the plane.
And then someone posted it from another airplane on Instagram. So we saw it. It was pretty
we saw it
crazy.
online. People started checking their phones.
Yeah.
And
everybody's
the news
looking
was
at their
starting
phones.
to cover it.
Yeah, we were in the runway.
Yeah, we had just pulled away from the gate on the tarmac.
Yeah.
And obviously there was a ground stoppage, airport shut down. We were notified by the pilot. He was great, actually, in terms of communicating to us. And then he just said we have to wait a period of time, and they were going to deplane, pull back into the gate, and get off the plane.
How long?
Okay.
I can imagine being on a plane watching all of this unfold, but
check your nerves for sure.
So this shelter in place is still in place. Anything north of the airport to the Ohio River, South Louisville, Old Louisville, downtown Jeffersonville. The governor did note there's nothing hazardous on the UPS cargo plane itself, but it didn't crash into and involve several other businesses who could potentially have some hazardous problems there. So continue to shelter in place if you live around the Louisville airport.
Yeah. In the meantime, TARC is shut down because of that shelter in place. The airport is shut down as well, and we're waiting to hear from the airport authorities, and that's one of the things they'll update us on when they will resume flights in and out of Louisville. But right now, the concern is on those massive fires that are burning down off Great Lane after today's UPS plane crash as it was taking off.
A fatal plane crash. We are still unsure of the crew, how the crew is doing. We have not got a status update from them, but the governor did say there are 3 fatalities and 11 people injured. Unfortunately, expects that number to grow. And you can see the massive response there.
That is the UPS warehouse that, you know, something went hurling through there, cut through it like a knife.
There's so many buildings and businesses and places there surrounding this area. It's such a massive scene. So it kind of gives you an idea, if we can show that shot, just how big it is, of the large job that these first responders have to do to make sure that they've covered everything. They've checked every car, they've checked every home or building or whatever is involved to make sure that everybody's accounted for. Still lots of businesses doing that.
Well, now we know exactly why we got that large plume of smoke. Not only the plane crash with all that fuel that was on board, but the explosions afterwards from the Kentucky Petroleum Recycling that was hit there as well.
When I initially saw that pop up, I thought this is bad. Even the initial pictures of it looked really bad, and it continued to grow as time went by. This was around 5:15 tonight when all of this happened. UPS plane.
Jamie Mays is at the airport for us, and Jamie, you've been checking the board there, and it was the departures and arrivals canceled, and more. What's an update? What are you learning now about flights?
Rick, Jennifer, those flights are still canceled. I've spoken with passengers who are pretty much just waiting here at the airport. You can take a look around me here and you can see some of them just kind of waiting on their flights. Some of them told me that they plan to spend the night here until the morning, until hopefully their flight arrives. And it's not just down here where things are really just kind of calm. Upstairs as well at TSA, it was completely shut down earlier this evening and still is now. I saw someone just earlier who was at TSA who was working the line, who was turning passengers away, who were trying to get through there, letting them know, hey, you know, your flight's been canceled. You're not able to get through. Businesses here at the airport, we're seeing a similar situation where they shut down or they're not seeing any business at all, as there's just not a whole lot going on here. We did see some people upstairs who are trying to enjoy dinner here, just kind of waiting. Many of them, like I told you, just staying here throughout the night, they told me, or waiting on family to come pick them up. I spoke with one woman here who's from France, another person who was here from Nashville who said that she was waiting on her son to drive down from Nashville to come get her, to take her back to Nashville. So a lot of different circumstances here. People are waiting, trying to determine when their flight will arrive. Back to you.
All right, Jamie Mays live for us at the Louisville airport. The site of a UPS plane crash earlier today happened around 5:15 this evening.
Just horrible. 3 fatalities, 11 injured, but the governor expects that number to go up. There's some folks that have some pretty serious injuries.
We want to check in with Jay Cardosi now. Jay, you've kind of been tracking this since it all happened. You were able to kind of pinpoint before we even knew exactly how this happened, just from your radar.
Yeah, from the radar, and just prior to that, when we were doing some weather hits around 5:10 earlier this afternoon, we noticed that huge plume on the live tower cam as we were showing beautiful fall colors. Well, let me take you back in time. This was the smoke plume as it occurred earlier in the day, and right around 5:19, 5:20, 5:21, notice there it is showing up on the radar there. That was the explosion, if you will. That was the plane crash, and that plume just exploded and drifted off towards the northeast with the prevailing winds coming in from the south, slightly south of west, if you will, and it carried that plume all the way north to the Ohio River, even into southern portions of Indiana. Now, an hour and a half after that, the plume really dissolved on radar anyway, but we know there's still the fire that's ongoing. We still have a lot of fumes out there that are lifting off to the north. As far as what I've seen, and I've been watching things very, very closely, this is the latest I have on the shelter in place. It's still in effect from the airport and points northward into downtown Louisville, near the Ohio River, including Jeffersonville. And this will go for the foreseeable future, obviously, until this thing can be lifted, until we're sure that the fumes, the air quality is okay. So the bottom line, if you reside in that area, the health department is saying be sure and shut off your air conditioner and your furnace, close your windows, try to keep all of those fumes out of your house. But I will say this, with the south winds that have been blowing lightly as they have been for much of the afternoon and early evening, they're starting to increase somewhat, especially the higher you go up in the atmosphere. And as we kind of pull out here just a little bit, these south winds are carrying some of these fumes, some of that smoke, if you will, farther off to the north. Matter of fact, got an email from a person in Salem saying, hey, the fumes have reached this area, and they're pretty stout as well. I mean, it really smells out here. So it just goes to show you, with these increasing south winds, those fumes are actually kind of expanding northward a little more so. And Rick, Jennifer, those winds will continue to pick up as the night wears on. It's going to be kind of gusty here during the day tomorrow, so hopefully all of this will be taken care of. I guess it's kind of a rush to get all taken care of and under control before those winds pick up for tomorrow. Guys, let's send it back to you.
Yeah, officials during that 7:30 briefing were saying that this is a scene that's going to take some time.
Yeah, it's spread out. But Jay said, you know, you got to get those fires doused down at least before the wind picks up. It'd be kind of like the deal with out in California with the Santa Ana wind.
Right.
We don't need winds whipping the flames to other structures.
They're still working to fight it right now. Just a reminder, SDF Airfield is closed and TSA is temporarily suspended. They're asking people, if you fly out tonight, tomorrow, just to keep a close eye on your flight. Check with your airline that you're flying to make sure. Also, we have TARC that's temporarily suspended, as we still have that shelter in place underway here. Anything north of the Louisville airport airport. So that includes Old Louisville, downtown. So just, we're hoping to get an update here in the next few minutes, around 9 o'clock.
And when you go through that video, I keep talking about the one building that, the UPS building that looked like something that had carved right through it. A friend of mine called and said that that was the UPS IT building.
Okay.
Where you see that whatever just cut right
Looks
through
like
it.
a wing or maybe the nose of the plane.
Fuselage, something. It took a direct hit for sure.
We have had reporters out covering this since it happened. We want to check in with our Madison Elliott with an update. Madison?
Hey, Rick and Jennifer. So we are still at the family reunification site. Again, this is where LMPD is asking family members to come if they can't get a hold of a loved one who was working at the airport and maybe they are concerned they were one of several people injured or in this event. They can come here to the South Louisville Government Center, which is also the LMPD training academy as well. They can come to this. This is off of Taylor Boulevard. 2911 Taylor Boulevard is where this center is, so you can come here. They're asking families, if they have questions or loved ones that are in the hospital, do not go to the hospital looking for your family member. They're asking people to come here to the reunification center. That's because they said hospitals right now just are not equipped to handle this kind of volume. So, or during this kind of emergency, don't have the capacity to handle family reunification during this time. So they're asking people to come here. So this is where they are sending everybody. And we've seen a few people walking in and out. We haven't really seen a lot of people yet, but what we have seen are police bringing in water, bringing in snacks, just making sure all those supplies are here for family members if they are coming here, so they are ready for you with food and snacks, and as well as just to hopefully get you reunited with your loved one and get some questions answered for you. So we'll continue to stay here to bring you more answers, bring you more of what we know, but right now, if you have a loved one, this would be the place to come if you are looking for them. Rick, Jennifer, back to you.
Thank you, Madison. And as we mentioned, the airport is shut down. We did talk to a couple who was trying to fly back to Orlando today. They were on the tarmac getting ready to take off. Let's hear what they had to say.
Yeah, we boarded our flight probably around 4:45, 4:50, pulled away from the gate, started heading up the tarmac, and then we stopped. And then as soon as, like right after we stopped, she looked back and saw like the big plume of smoke and some fire out the window.
Out of the window, the rear of the plane, back behind, there were two other planes behind us, and you could see this big plume of smoke way behind the one UPS plane. But we didn't know what was going on, and people started looking up news on the...
So we started watching the news channels, and they started saying that they started showing some video of the plane that crashed, so it was pretty disheartening.
They were stuck on the runway there for several hours. We want to let you know that the shelter in place has been reduced now to 1 mile around the airport. So first responders are getting a hand on this scene. Also, Mayor Greenberg has said that tonight they will light the Big 4 bridge yellow in honor of UPS flight 2976. He said this tragedy has touched every corner of our city. As Louisville's skyline glows in yellow, we're thinking of the lives lost, the families forever changed, and the entire community that calls Louisville home.
3 dead, 11 injured, and as the governor said, several of those are fighting for their lives tonight, so please keep them in their prayers. That UPS flight 2976, which was an MD-11, loaded with fuel. It was headed to Honolulu, was trying to take off when one of the engines caught fire, and then it led to a horrific explosion. And subsequently, we've had additional fires on Grade Lane outside the airport, and firefighters from all over the Commonwealth now are working. There's that IT building from UPS where it looks like the plane, and we've seen videos of the plane that was sideways as it exited the airport, and that would indicate that
I don't want to interrupt
scissored
you, but
right into it, yeah.
JCPS is closed tomorrow. Again, JCPS is closed tomorrow. We do expect more details to continue to roll out, as this is an ever-changing and evolving situation. Also, we expect to hear from the NTSB, who's leading this investigation, the National Transportation Safety Board. They're launching a GO team that should be in Louisville soon, with an update provided sometime tomorrow. We will, of course, as soon as we get word on when that update is, we will bring that to you and provide that information for you here on WLKY and also on WLKY.com. Go ahead and download our WLKY app. It's free. We'll keep you updated there as well. Again, JCPS school has canceled. We're just getting this information for you.
Well, it makes sense because Mayo High School is not far from the
Right.
airport. Iroquois is just on the other side, and Manual's not that far away.
It says, due to the necessary shelter-in-place issued by the city following the evening's tragic plane crash, all JCPS schools and buildings will be closed Wednesday, November 5th. This will operate like a snow day with no online instruction. All extracurricular activities and athletics are also canceled.
We're waiting to hear from the airport on the situation out there tonight.
And the mayor.
And the mayor. The airport will let us know how long the airport is going to be shut down, affecting your airport travel. The TARC routes were closed because of the shelter in place. I don't know if that would change since we got our new alert on the shelter in place, but keep your phone handy. That's technology. You get the immediate beeps. Everybody's phone goes off.
Yeah, and it's now, let's check in with Jay so we can give you a look at that map of this shelter in place. Jay, it started at 5 miles around the airport, then it grew to anything north of the airport, and now it's down to 1 mile around the airport.
Exactly. So let's give you an idea as to what that looks like. So this is, well, if there's some good news to report, I guess it is this, that shelter in place does continue to shrink as they're getting all of this under control. The officials are, the firefighters and what have you. But from the international airport north to about 1 mile or so, that little zone, still the shelter in place. Everybody else, north downtown Louisville, St. Matthews, Jeffersonville, Old Louisville, over towards Churchill Downs, University of Louisville, you guys have been cleared from the shelter in place. But if you're still around Linview, the Watterson Park area, maybe Audubon Park, and just south of there, you know what, just to be safe, if you would, stay indoors, of course, keep the windows closed, and keep those ACs and furnaces off until this thing has been discontinued altogether. But yes, some good news. It does continue to shrink from what it was earlier, all the way from the outer loop north into extreme southern Clark County, to just that little zone right now. Rick, Jennifer?
JCPS closed, and it's affected businesses around this area, right?
Yes, so Ford Fern Valley canceled production in the morning tomorrow as this continues to affect businesses surrounding the area there. You know, we talked a lot about some of the fatalities and how wide-reaching this is. Here's a little bit about what the governor had to say earlier.
Right now, we believe we have at least 3 fatalities. So I believe that number is going to get larger. We have at least 11 injuries, some of them very significant, that are being treated by local hospitals. Again, I think that number will get larger. Right now, we believe that the main area hit consisted of 2 businesses, though we know there were more businesses impacted. The first is Kentucky Petroleum Recycling. We are seeking more information, but it looks like they were hit pretty directly. The second is Grade A Auto Parts. Grade A has been in contact. They've accounted for all of their employees but 2, but they do not know how many other individuals, customers, or others could have been on site at the time. Because of the nature of these facilities, it may be some time before we can account for everyone or know that no one else was on the grounds. Anybody who has seen the images and the video know how violent this crash is. And there are a lot of families that are going to be waiting and wondering for a period of time. We're going to try to get them that information as fast as we can. But if this is a family you know, please give them your support. Please give them your prayers. Please give them your love and be with them, because the toughest moments, and I can say it from personal experience, or when you're wondering whether that person that you know and you care about has survived something like this.
Again, 3 fatalities, 11 people injured, and the governor and other officials expect that number to grow. This is another look at the scene out there at the Louisville airport where a UPS plane taking off on a west runway earlier today around 5:20. This happened, and Chopper Bill said that this was during a very busy time there at the airport. It was, they had UPS planes that were stacked there on the runway, a very busy time for them. And we just heard from some passengers that some from Boston and Orlando, kind of all over the country, that were heading out of Louisville now, staying the night here in Louisville. SDF closed tonight. So if you're flying out tonight, tomorrow, be sure to keep a close eye on your flight. Check with your airline, and you can check with us. We're going to keep you updated as we get the information.
About 3 minutes. We're hoping to hear from the airport authorities on their situation. There's a live picture of the podium at the Muhammad Ali International Airport. We'll get an update from them on the situation. JCPS closed tomorrow already.
Mayor just arrived back in Louisville, too.
Vicky just told us that, yes, the mayor's out there, so we'll be hearing from him as well.
Yeah, he had a scheduled out-of-town trip, so he has made his way back to Louisville. He rushed back to Louisville. We're hoping to hear an update from him. I know he's been closely talking with the governor and other first responders, emergency services there that have been on the scene since shortly after this happened, keeping a close eye on everything that's happening, and hopefully we'll be able to get another update from the mayor here in the next few minutes or so.
Just a horrible situation played out. 3 dead. Confirmed, 11 injured, some of those serious, and the governor said that he's expecting the death toll to climb in this situation. Plus, we don't know the after effects of all those burning structures. Who could have been someone innocently sitting in their car.
Well, it's a busy area, as we know. And, you know, Kentucky Petroleum Recycling there on Grade Lane, excuse me, hit directly. Grade A Auto Parts also on Grade Lane. 2 employees as of that 7:30 press conference were unaccounted for, and possibly customers. They're still working on that first initial assessment when something like this happens, when first responders respond and try to make sure everybody's accounted for. The Ford assembly plant was not hit, but we're told it did lose power. They had to shelter in place there for a bit, and the Ford Fern Valley plant there canceled production in the morning tomorrow. So this is wide-reaching ripple effects, not only tonight, but for days to come.
This UPS flight loaded with fuel, about 41,000 pounds or gallons of fuel. That weighs 250,000 pounds. So that is what caused that massive fireball originally.
It was headed on an over almost 9-hour trip to Hawaii.
Yeah.
So it was packed and ready to go. Chief Humphrey described this scene as an ongoing active scene. To follow this, we apologize. We're having a few technical issues here, but this was a UPS flight 2976 that crashed around 5:20 tonight here local time.
We're waiting to hear from you saw the podium. As soon as the authorities at the airport come forward, we'll be speaking to them. And I keep reiterating this. Louisville has been a safe airport. 2005 was the last accident there, and that was a UPS plane that landed and lost the front of it. Nobody was injured in that incident. You have to go back to the Stanford Field days in 1970 before there was the last crash out at the airport, Stanford Field, at that point.
Yeah, we've talked a lot about how this is a UPS town, and everybody takes great pride in having UPS here, and it's like a family for a lot of people, and a lot of people are connected to UPS. So I think as a community, we're all praying and hoping for the best here.
And Chopper Bill was giving us a close-up earlier shots, but the control tower out at the airport shooed him away, so as close as he can get is 4.5 miles. So the picture is from a distance now at this point, so we can't get up close on the fires, but it's looking a lot better than it did earlier today.
Yeah, you know, it seems like they're getting a good handle on this now, and the fire chief was talking about how they attack a scene like a massive scene like this. They kind of have to draw it in, surround it. And I think that's what they're still trying to do here as they continue to assess the buildings and the businesses around there, still trying to make sure no one's trapped. Buildings are clear, cars are clear. A very busy area there. Shelter in place, still 1 mile surrounding the Louisville airport. If you're not familiar with that area, it's such a busy area too.
Very busy.
Very populated area.
And it's nice to know that that has kind of died down a little bit before the winds pick up, as Jay said is going to do later and then into tomorrow. We had a lady that called Jay and said that she had was smelling the smoke, and she was in Washington County, Indiana.
Yeah.
Clark County definitely got its fill. Mayor Mike Moore even put a shelter in place for a time being over in Jeffersonville.
Yeah, and LMPD is asking anyone, if you're looking for a family member or a friend concerned about them possibly being affected by this, don't go to the hospitals. Go to LMPD's training facility that's located on 2911 Taylor Boulevard. They say the hospitals really are not set up for handling this kind of response. Local hospitals, they're not equipped to handle family reunification during this type of emergencies. So just go to the LMPD training facility there on Taylor Boulevard. They'll help get you connected with the right information and hopefully with your loved one.
Okay. As we're waiting the airport officials to speak to us, and also I'm assuming Mayor Greenberg will be talking as well. If we can go back to the video that we had, and if you're just joining us, this is a look at it from someone that was working alongside the runway, and apparently they heard that loud noise of the plane that was on fire, one of its engines, as it was attempting to take off. Chopper Bill said his indications that it went off the runway a little bit, and then you see that massive explosion that led to the situation where we are right now. 3 dead, 11 seriously injured.
But those are initial numbers, so the governor was very cautious to say some of those injuries are very severe, and he expects that number to increase. And here's another look at that explosion. And we were on air during the news at 5 when all of this was happening, and we were looking at some video of some of our cameras, and this, as soon as I saw the smoke plume, I knew this was a really bad explosion or whatever it was before we even knew it was the airport.
Something's, massive was on fire.
It was bad, and I think that was kind of the sentiment from a lot of people that live in the area, because I noticed a lot of people were talking about hearing and feeling that explosion. There were multiple explosions there. It affected 2 large businesses, Kentucky Petroleum Recycling and Grade A Auto Parts, both on Grade Lane there. So this is, again, a massive scene. Grade Lane still closed indefinitely as first responders are still working this scene. And this is a live look at the scene. It's kind of hard to see because it is dark, but you can see the massive response to this. We know emergency officials from all over the state and city, Lexington officials raced here to the scene to help out, all hands on deck. And they did say that they did call in people who were off duty today to cover shifts, fire shifts, police shifts, to make sure other emergencies that might happen during this response will be covered.
Okay, once again, we are waiting to hear from officials at the airport. The airport has been shut down since this happened. We've talked to several passengers the last couple, they were hoping to get home to Orlando tonight. They were on the tarmac when the crash happened, and so that was shut down. They sat there for 2 hours before they were able to deplane. JCPS has canceled school for tomorrow. They reduced the shelter in place. There is that reunification for injured victims, their families at the Taylor Boulevard LMPD facility.
And I just received a statement from UPS that says, we are terribly saddened by the accident tonight in Louisville. Our heartfelt thoughts are with everyone involved. UPS is committed to the safety of our employees, our customers, and communities we serve. This is particularly true in Louisville home home to our airline and thousands of UPSers. We are engaged with the National Transportation Safety Board investigation of the accident, are staying close contact with the Federal Aviation Administration. We will work tirelessly with state and local authorities on response efforts. As a result of the accident, we are halting operations tonight at Worldport. The next day air sort has been canceled, and employees should not report to work tonight. That is according to UPS. So again, it's still that ripple effect that is going to continue to.
And we hate that it happened. You know, UPS is it's part of who we are here in Louisville now, and we take great pride in that company and the employees. And I've been out there before. They're just first class all the way through, and I know their hearts are heavy. Their comrades are, you know, dealing with this horrible situation at the airport.
Well, and with that said, at the family reunification area we were talking about with LMPD's training facility, some of the services that they're offering, chaplains are being offered there, offering emotional and spiritual support during this difficult time. This is something that is affecting a lot of people, even if you're not initially affected by this. LMPD Victim Services Unit is assisting with information and guidance. This is what they do, and they're very good at it. The American Red Cross is also on hand. They are providing support and resources for families. So if you are someone who is affected by this, you can head there to LMPD's training facility on Taylor Boulevard. They have lots of resources and folks on hand who can help you with what you might need. We are continuing to wait here. We're expecting to hear from the mayor, Mayor Greenberg, who was out of the city on a planned trip when all of this happened. He did race back to Louisville to connect with emergency services and officials to try to get an update for us. We're waiting to hear from Mayor Greenberg and also airport officials. And this update from U of L Health we just received, University Hospital.
Okay, from U of L Health, this is on 10 patients related to the incident at the airport. 2 are at U of L Health, U of L Hospital in the Burn Center in critical condition. 2 additional were treated with non-life-threatening injuries. 3 patients with non-life-threatening injuries are being treated at U of L Health, Mary and Elizabeth Hospital. 2 patients with non-life-threatening injuries were treated at U of L Health South Hospital. 1 patient with non-life-threatening injuries was treated at U of L Health Jewish Hospital. So there you go. So we had initially those 11, but my math there takes it a little higher than that. That's so that's what we're dealing with. 3 fatalities and a multitude of injuries. Some of them not serious, some of them critical injuries.
We'll see, hopefully get an update from the mayor here in the next few minutes as far as any more injuries or fatalities that have possibly been discovered since all of this happened. Again, just to recap for you, a UPS flight 2976 crashed around 5:20 tonight at the Louisville Muhammad Ali International Airport. This plane, this UPS plane, was loaded and ready to go for a very long trip to Honolulu, Hawaii. It was a cargo ship, UPS cargo plane, excuse me. And the FAA and NTSB investigating right now. The NTSB will lead this investigation over the next several weeks and months, as long as it takes.
So, all right. So that's the situation. Tragic here in Louisville. 3 dead, 11 injured is what we were told. I guess the 1 person was not treated or went elsewhere, but U of L Health sent us this and gave us the 10. There's a live look at the podium, and once they step to the podium to give us an update, we will, of course, go right there. It's like any press conference. It's never on time, for sure. And they've got their hands full
They do. They're still gathering information. This is at the Louisville Airport, which is closed right now. SDF is closed, along with, obviously, the TSA is shut down right now. So if you have a flight, be sure to check on that. We want to remind you there is a 1-mile radius shelter in place. As of 8:49 tonight, that shelter in place has been reduced to 1-mile radius of the airport. Initially, it was 5 miles, then it grew to north, everything north of the airport to the river. Now it's been reduced to 1 mile. We've been given the 2-minute warning. We hope to hear from Mayor Greenberg and airport officials here in the next couple of minutes. But this is a live look right now at the Louisville Airport and that scene after that UPS plane crashed.
And our thoughts and prayers go out to those 2 that are in critical condition in the burn unit, and all of those that were involved in this, and our whole community. Our hearts are just broken that we had this accident today, the UPS crash at 5:15 this afternoon that caused extensive damage, and the fire continues to rage as the firefighters from, you said even some from Lexington came in to help assist. Oklahoma was first on scene, and then they just came running. That's what our fire departments around here do. They're the best, for sure.
Again, Ford Fern Valley canceled production in the morning tomorrow, and JCPS has closed both school and activities after school.
All right, we got the
tomorrow.
2-minute warning just a couple of minutes, well, a minute ago, so we'll be joining them shortly to get an update on the situation. We'll probably find out details about the crash. Once again, it was UPS flight 2976, and it was attempting to take off on its way to Honolulu, loaded with fuel, 250,000 pounds. Let's go now to the airport as they're assembling now for the press conference to get an update from the airport.
Good evening, everybody. Thanks for being here. I want to start by saying I'm Dan Mann. I'm the executive airport authority. And I've got to say, my heart hurts for our friends and partners at UPS, and really all the first responders that are out there right now, and everybody else that is going to be impacted by this tragedy. So I think I really appreciate the mutual aid response. We just practiced this probably less than a month ago. All the life-saving, the response that our partners at Mutual Aid provide is unbelievable. We actually have a ARF truck that came in from Lexington Bluegrass Airport, so we could get the airport open as well. So thanks to them as well. So this will go much better with the fact that we have great partners that are willing to respond to this. With that, I'm going to open it up to turn it over to Officer Devin to give some details.
Good evening. I'm Officer Jonathan Biven, the Public Information Officer here with the Louisville Airport. At 5:15, Louisville Airport Dispatch, an Alert 3 call regarding UPS flight number 2976, an MD-11 cargo plane that took off en route to Honolulu, Hawaii. Flight 2976 had a total number of 3 souls on board. Flight 2976 departed runway 17 right and went down 3 miles south of the airfield. I can confirm a total number of 4 fatalities and 11 injured that were transported to local hospitals at this time. These numbers can increase as the investigation continues with partnerships of local, state, and federal investigators. Here at the airport at this time, runway 1129 is open, and all departing flights have been canceled for tonight. We're asking anyone who is traveling out of SDF Airport tonight and tomorrow, they should contact their airline for flight status. We are also asking the public, if they were to find any debris in the area, to please avoid touching this debris and report the debris. As well, they can take photographs to the following website, which is WLKY.gov/emergency services. We are asking everyone to please follow the airport's X page at Fly Louisville for additional updates. We will not be providing any questions at this time as this investigation continues. I'm going to turn it over here.
From the City of Louisville Emergency Management. Just a quick update from the one that we did earlier. We have reduced, due to a substantial amount of air monitoring in the area, we have reduced the footprint of the shelter in place to 1 mile. So that's good news, for the people that live outside of that. But we encourage people to still stay alert, to still monitor social media, and to sign up for our Lens Alert, our Louisville Emergency Notification System. We used initially with this the Integrated Public Alert and Warning System, which we use, for dire emergencies emergency such as what the city faced tonight. But as the night goes on, we will not use that outside of that 1 mile area. So we encourage people to sign up for Lens Alert. If it expands, we will issue that again. We will expand it as needed. And we're going to continue to send people downrange, even outside of that 1 mile, to make sure that they're not getting any kind of adverse readings. You may get an odor. There is an odor in the air, but right now, again, with particulate monitoring as well as air monitoring, they're not getting any adverse readings. So please make sure you sign up for our Lens Alert. Also, one of the things we did, again, set up a Family Assistance Center, 2911 Taylor Boulevard at Louisville Metro Police Training Center. And you can call the Family Assistance hotline if you have any questions or need any assistance. That number is 800-631-0604. That's 800-631-0604. Thank you.
We will have another press conference at 10:30. The mayor will be here for that one. I'm not sure we'll have a lot more information, but if we do have some updates, we'll provide it at that time. Again, 10:30, the mayor will be here. I also want to say thank you guys for getting the word out. It's really important that we get as much information out as we can about if you find debris, don't touch it, report it, and where the family area is. So thank you. We'll see you again at 10:30.
Did you take any questions?
No.
Is the pressure at 10 or 10:30? Because we're hearing from the mayor it's 10.
It will be 10:30.
All right, you've just been listening to airport officials there recapping what happened here at the Louisville airport earlier tonight. Fatal UPS plane crash, and we're now learning 4 people have died. Initially, it was reported that there were 3 fatalities, but we're now being told, we learned through this press conference, that 4 people have died and 11 injured.
Well, the math lines up now. We were told originally 11 injured, now 10 injured and 4 fatalities in this. The
numbers are changing.
Yeah, U of L Health gave us the 10 people being treated, but there's 4 fatalities now. It's just devastation. And, who knows if anything's going to change because of those fires. There's all kind of businesses that were affected. This happened, we saw those explosions about, 5:30, I think is what it was, Jay, something like that, right after it happened. Several explosions, so fingers crossed, but
all departing flights.
Thoughts and prayers go out to all those involved.
Yeah, and just to recap for you, all departing flights tonight have been canceled. And one thing to note, they said they are still monitoring the air. They're not getting any bad readings, but that shelter in place 1 mile within the airport, still shelter in place. And if for some reason that you find any debris at your house that you suspect is possibly from this plane crash, don't touch it. They said take a picture of it and send it to LouisvilleKY.gov/emergency services. So don't touch any debris possibly related to this plane crash. And they are working. They mentioned they are working to get the airport back open. But right now, SDF is closed.
And guys, I've been getting quite a few emails about, hey, the odor is awful. Why has the shelter in place been diminished so much? Well, as the officials were just talking about there, yeah, you're going to smell the odor out there, but the actual air quality, they've been monitoring that, especially, downwind, is getting better and better, especially outside of the shelter in place, which is now 1 mile from the international airport, and especially just off to the north of there. So no doubt there's going to be that odor out there, even all the way north. Still receiving emails, up around Scottsburg and Salem. So no question, it's out there, but they are saying that the air has been deemed safe outside of the shelter in place.
Yeah, and they're still talking about monitoring, and they will continue to keep an eye and monitor the air to make sure that it continues to be safe. We do want to remind you that JCPS has canceled school. They cite that it's due to the necessary shelter-in-place order issued by the city following this evening's tragic plane crash. That does include extracurricular activities and athletics.
Okay, let's go now out to Norman Seawright, who has been covering everything for us out at the airport way. Norman?
Yeah, Rick, first things first, Mayor Greenberg will be here at 10 o'clock. We were told he was going to push that back to be here at 10:30, but he will be here at 10 o'clock. So we will get an updated briefing from the mayor when he gets here. But in the meantime, just some of the things we heard from airport officials as we have been waiting on him. Obviously, if you see debris from this plane crash anywhere in the metro area, do not touch it. You may take photos of it, but make sure to report it. You can do that online at louisvilleky.gov/emergency services. But again, it's not safe to touch, so please do not do that. They've reduced, as we've talked about already, their shelter in place to a 1-mile radius. Air quality, they're still monitoring. It's not that bad outside of that radius. You know, it may smell funny, but to their knowledge right now, it does not appear to be too much of a hazard outside of that radius. But the runway 1129, that's open again, and of course, all flights right now are grounded. If you need to figure out your flight status, of course, reach out to your airline to do so. But that is the recap of kind of what we just heard just now from airport officials. And we will look for more from Mayor Greenberg when he gets here. Again, as you heard just now, 4 confirmed dead, 11 injured, and we are still following this very closely. And really just hearts going out to everyone affected by this, guys.
All right. Thank you so much, Norman. So Mayor Greenberg is at 10, and then the Airport Authority will give us another update at 10:30.
Yeah. And I'm getting texts and emails from a lot of people who have connections to UPS. They're just talking about how tragic, obviously tragic, that this horrific crash is.
Well, the governor hinted at his press conference that there was going to be additional fatalities, and I think that's now we have upped it to 4. Let's hope it holds there. Jamie Mays is out at the airport as well. She's been looking at the board of the delayed flights and cancellations. Jamie?
Rick, Jennifer, as we heard earlier today, all departing flights leaving from Louisville Muhammad Ali International Airport have been canceled. Many of the passengers I spoke to today are still trying to figure out what to do next. If you take a look behind me here, we spoke to people who were here from France. Some just came from other cities who said that they might just spend the night here at the airport while they wait to figure out next steps. We spoke to another woman who said that she was waiting on her son to come pick her up, who was driving in from Nashville. So a lot of plans that are being made here with those departing flights being canceled. And upstairs as well, earlier today, we saw TSA shut down a lot of the businesses that would usually have a lot more customers coming through. We saw that they just weren't seeing those people coming through, or there were some people who were just sitting down having dinner. So what's been happening here has just been a lot of waiting, is what I describe it as. Pretty calm inside, but a lot of people just waiting to figure out what's next. You heard earlier today that SDF is asking passengers if you have any departing flights that or you're planning to arrive here at SDF, that you look at those flight schedules to figure out if your flight will arrive sometime tomorrow, and if so, at what time. Back to you.
All right, thank you, Jamie Mays. We want to check in with Madison Elliott, who has been at the Family Reunification Center there at LMPD's training facility. Madison, are you seeing families stopping by there?
We've seen a few people coming in and out, Jennifer. We have not seen a lot of people as we've been here over the last hour and a half or so. But LMPD is urging anybody who has concerns about a loved one who may have been involved in this and you can't get a hold of them to come here instead of the hospitals. That's just because they say hospitals really are not equipped right now to handle family reunification in this type of emergency. So they're encouraging people to come here, and they have a lot of people on standby here to help families. Some of the people they have, and the American Red Cross, they are here providing support and resources for families right now. LMPD Victim Services, they are assisting with information and guidance. And then they also have chaplains here on hand. They are just offering emotional and spiritual support during this very difficult time for families. They're saying this approach ensures families receive timely, accurate updates while reducing the congestion and confusion at the hospitals. And we did just get an update from U of A Hospital. They received 10 patients, and they have a few patients at a few different of their hospitals within their system. So it may be hard to know what hospital to go to if you have a loved one that you are looking for. So that's why it's just the easiest thing to do is to come here, which is what LMPD is encouraging people to do. They say this is a coordinated process designed to help loved ones and to locate and reconnect with individuals that have been impacted by this incident. So they're, again, again, encouraging people to come here because this is a safe space. It's an organized space, not as hectic as the hospital. I will say, you know, it's been calm here. There are not a lot of people that are here, not a lot of bystanders, anything like this. So it is also a good place for families to come and get connected with the resources they need without dealing with the hospitals as well. So they do encourage people to come here, and we'll continue to stay here and see if any families are going to share what it's been like. Our hearts really go out to them in what must be an incredibly difficult time, especially when you don't have information and don't know what's going on. It can be quite scary. So we're standing by here waiting for more information. And if you have questions and can't get a hold of a loved one, this is where you need to be. Rick, Jennifer.
All right,
Thanks,
Madison, thank you so much. We do want to give an update to you on the traffic impacts. We know this has been initially impacting Grade Lane and surrounding areas there, but the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet says that there's been some traffic impacts related to this plane crash. The I-65 north and south off-ramps and on-ramps to and from Fern Valley Road are closed. So you'll see local law enforcement there that have those ramps closed. Also, Kentucky 1065, that's Outer Loop, is closed from Grade Lane to Kentucky 1065 Outer Loop, I-65 interchange. So several roads being impacted. No impacts, though, to 65 and I-264 Waterston Expressway. It just says to be sure to pay attention if you're in this area. Some of those back roads and side streets and ramps may be closed as emergency officials are continuing to assess and work this emergency.
Okay, well, we've had the briefing from the airport. We heard from the governor. We'll hear from the mayor at 10 o'clock, and then another briefing from the airport authority. One of the things that was talked about, and we've seen pictures. Jay received a picture from someone that had some charred letterhead from that had floated into their yard. Jonathan Biven from the airport police, he was talking to us earlier in that press conference about debris, and if you see it, leave it alone.
Yeah, he said to take a picture of it. Don't touch it. Absolutely do not touch it. If you think or suspect it might be something related to this plane crash, take a picture of it and send that to this website, LouisvilleKY.gov/emergency services. We're going to have that information for you on our website, WLKY.com. But yeah, that debris, if you think it's debris, don't touch it. Just take a picture of it.
Here's some sound from Jonathan Biven.
We are also asking the public, if they were to find any debris in the area, to please avoid touching this debris and report the debris. As well, they can take photographs to the following website, which is LouisvilleKY.gov/emergency services.
All right, that was Jonathan Biven from the airport police. Again, 4 fatalities now, 11 injured. And we hope that number does not climb anymore. We'll get more word coming up in a half hour from Mayor Greenberg on this horrific crash that happened. A UPS plane, a MD-11, crashed today at around 5:15 as it was attempting to take off from Louisville International Airport on its way to Hawaii.
Which is something that these UPS flights do every single day in Louisville, Kentucky. This was a normal day there at UPS Worldport and the Louisville Airport. We want to check in with DeAndrea Turner, who's been there with a beautiful yellow bridge there in the background. DeAndrea, tell us about why they're lighting this up yellow now.
Well, it's to remember the lives that have been lost already. 4 people. We just got that number updated, but also to remember the people who have been hurt and really struggling right now. Not only the people who were hurt in this crash, but the families too. The city just lit this up maybe an hour or so ago, and it's just kind of saying, hey, we're in this together. That's something that the governor really honed in on earlier at his press conference, is how strong Louisville is, how strong Kentucky is, and no matter what we go through, we really do get through things together, and the community comes together during tough times like this. And this is just one of the symbols of hey, we got this. This is a really hard thing of what we're going through right now because, like you said, UPS is a part of our everyday lives. This was a normal day for everyone until their lives were turned upside down by what the governor is calling a catastrophic plane crash at this airport. So many lives are going to be forever changed because of this, but this is just one simple way that they're saying, hey, we hear you, we're listening to you, we're here for you. And again, this is a very fluid investigation. It's a very fluid scene. Officials say that they're going to be out there for days. Again, family lives are going to be changed forever beyond the days that they're going to be out there. So this is just one way that they're saying, hey, we see you, we hear you, we're here for you, and we're going to continue to be there for you, especially since 4 lives have been lost, 11 have been injured. And even the governor said about an hour ago in his press conference, he told us an hour ago that it was just 3, and he expected more people to be impacted by this. And just an hour later, a 4th person has lost their life. So the city is really heavy tonight, but also coming together in just small ways like this. Back to you guys in the studio.
DeAndrea, can you smell? We're 8 miles from the airport. Can you smell anything out in the air tonight?
Right now, I can't. However, when I was downtown outside of the city hall, I could. And when I was at U of L Hospital, I also could. But right here at the waterfront, everything's fine.
Good to hear.
All right, DeAndrea Turner live for us in downtown Louisville. Thank you, DeAndrea. We do want to recap for you. It's been more than 4 hours since all of this happened here. About 5:15, 5:20 this evening. There are now 4 confirmed dead. At least 11 people are being treated at local hospitals. A UPS cargo plane crashed at the Louisville airport and leaving behind this massive scene with a massive response from emergency officials from all over the state and all over our city as they work to control this scene here.
I don't know if we get any confirmation from Chopper Bill, but it appears that the flames are gone. I don't know if he can relay that. Okay, if we could get any confirmation one way or the other, Aaron, let us know.
Well, while we're waiting for that, again, we'll let you know that an aircraft incident occurred at SDF today at approximately 5:20, and that did involve a UPS MD-11 flight number 2976. It was departing the west runway there, taking off to fly to Honolulu, Hawaii, about an 8.5, 9-hour flight. Emergency crews were on the scene there at SDF, still there. They were there pretty quickly, all arriving and departing flights at SDF. Temporarily suspended the airfield there. The airport is closed. This is a quick look at the details of what all happened today. 3 crew members on board there, again, headed to Hawaii in that UPS flight.
And because it was going on that long flight, it was loaded with fuel. And that caused that massive explosion there. But the good news, as I'm seeing there, I haven't heard any word back from anybody, but I don't see any hot spots right now. So that is the good news of all those businesses on Gray Lane that were affected earlier.
As the sun comes up tomorrow, though, I think we'll get a good look at just how massive and destructive this scene was. JCPS has canceled school tomorrow due to the shelter in place that was ordered and issued by the city following this evening's tragic plane crash. All JCPS schools and buildings closed tomorrow, Wednesday, November 5th. It'll operate just like a snow day, officials say, with no online instruction. All extracurricular activities and athletics also closed tomorrow.
Park will resume tomorrow. It is shut down for tonight. It will resume tomorrow with partial delays and some different routes in effect. Of course, they can't, down at the airport and in that area around Great Lane, that will be a no-go. But that is the scene as you see the flashing lights. Once again, Mayor Greenberg will be speaking to us in about 25 minutes, and then we're going to get another update from the airport at 10:30.
Well, this is has been since it happened, a changing scene here. So officials are working, the mayor's working, governor's working, emergency services all to stay updated on this. And we expect, as you mentioned, to get more details, hopefully an update around 10 o'clock tonight from Mayor Greenberg, who was out of town when all of this happened. We did talk to him. It was a scheduled out-of-town event that he had to attend, and now he rushed back. He's back here in town at the airport there. We're hoping to check in with him here in less than a half hour, hopefully.
Now let's listen to some sound that we got earlier today from the press conference from Dan Mann out at the Louisville International Airport.
I really appreciate the mutual aid response. We just practiced this probably less than a month ago. All the life-saving, the response that our partners at Mutual Aid provide is unbelievable. We actually have a ARF truck that came in from Lexington Bluegrass Airport so we could get the airport open as well.
Let's see. That was Dan Mann from the CEO from International Airport here in Louisville today, where there was a plane crash. UPS cargo plane attempting to take off, had engine problem, it caught fire, and then it crashed off the runway into a couple of businesses. Grade Lane was the biggest one hit. It was the Kentucky Petroleum Recycling Incorporated. They do oil and antifreeze. They recycle that. One of the UPS IT buildings was injured. Grade A Auto Parts also took a big hit as well. Massive fireballs in that area.
We've talked a lot about air quality tonight. They have that shelter in place 1 mile around the airport, but officials say they are still monitoring the air to make sure that they don't need to increase that shelter in place. Jay Cardosi, what does the air quality look like right now?
You know what? As we look at the air quality, the latest levels around Jefferson County on into southern Clark County, actually looking pretty good. I'm sure there's still that odor out there, but right north of the airport, we have a site, and it's only 37. You see those green areas, that is actually corresponding to good air quality. You get into a yellow, which is up around Jeffersonville. It's moderate, but you can see the blues, the greens, that is actually some good air quality. So that is great to see, and no doubt that is likely why the shelter in place continues to be cut back. Yes, the odor is out there. It's likely going to continue for who knows how much longer until this thing is really under control. But the positive thing here is that it's good air quality around the crash site and off to the north as well. Guys?
Yeah, that 1 mile radius shelter in place was issued around 8:49 p.m. Tonight. It initially was 5 miles, and it grew, and now it's back down to 1 mile as they continue to monitor the air quality as this situation
and here's some of the residual effects. My cousin just texted me. Her son was at the airport today at the hangar when this accident happened. He is now in the hospital, burning eyes and throat. So, you know, if you talk about that air quality, anyone that was out the airport or in that general vicinity when this happened today at 5:15, they experienced some pretty traumatic events.
Some people were saying they could definitely smell some sort of odor in the air. A lot of people were mentioning that lived in this area that they were able to hear and see the explosions. So I think this is what officials were talking about when they were talking, you know, saying don't go to this area. There could still be explosions. We're still assessing the scene. You can see that massive response still there on the scene with all of those flashing lights and first responders.
I would imagine they're probably searching those properties once they doused those flames.
That's a large area.
It is a very large area, and a lot of ground to cover, and in the darkness as well.
It's a hard job in the daylight, and even harder in the dark.
Again, the death toll climbed since Governor Beshear told us earlier today he thought it was going to climb, and it did. We now know there are 4 fatalities and 11 injuries as a result of this plane crash today.
Let's check in with DeAndrea Turner for another update. DeAndrea?
Hi, you guys. Well, I was actually just talking to my photographer who I'm with right now, and 2 weeks ago we were at the airport where they were doing a disaster training simulation. We were there to see exactly how all of this plays and goes together, and it's kind of an eerie situation that 2 weeks later they're putting their everyday work not to test, but they're making sure that they're putting their work to use at this very moment. And I learned so much when I was there the other time, and the airport is required by FAA to do a full-scale disaster training every 3 years, and that's where we were last week. So the training simulated a plane crash complete with mock victims, fire, and a full emergency response from multiple agencies from across Louisville and even U of L. And at the time, officials told me that this type of hands-on training is crucial for saving lives when real emergencies like the one that we're going through right now happens. And in the last 3 years, the airport has invested over $2 million in new firefighting equipment and another $150,000 in mini ambulance for passenger rescues. So those are some of the same investments and trainings that are being put to use right now in this very real tragedy. And officials say that preparation and the coordination between the airport and the city crews has been a key in all of this. And while this is a disaster, while this is a devastation, 4 lives lost, 11 others injured, this also kind of puts it in perspective of their everyday training and exactly what they're prepared to do if such a tragedy happens like this. And to see it to see that mock training happen 2 weeks ago, and then 2 weeks later they're doing this in full force, it's just really eerie. But it also kind of puts in perspective of like, this is what they're prepared to do every single day, and they're doing exactly what they're called to do and what they're trained to do. So I just wanted to give you a little bit more context about some of the situations that's happening and what we're going through at this very moment. I'll send it back to you guys in the studio.
All right, thank you, DeAndrea. And I also got word that a friend is working for environmental cleanup company, and they're on the scene about a mile away, waiting for the word to go in and start working. So we're getting closer to the cleanup portion of this after the fire department had to deal with all those massive fires.
Yeah, and the LMPD's police chief said that this would be a scene that was going to be for many days. It's going to last for many days. Just to kind of recap you everything that's happened, this all started around 5:15 or 5:20 at the Louisville airport, where a UPS plane crashed on takeoff. It was leaving Louisville full of fuel, headed for almost a 9-hour flight to Hawaii across the country. Yeah, something horrible happened and caused it to crash on takeoff. It was flight number 2976. And we're still unsure tonight of that crew. We do not have an update on that crew. We possibly may get one around 10 o'clock. We're hoping to hear from the mayor and some other officials at a 10 o'clock press conference. But as of right now, that shelter in place is still there.
Yeah, the numbers, they're not good. 4 dead, 11 injured. And as I said, there's other people that probably are now just feeling the effects that were there around. One was talking, he was in the cargo area that was close by there that inhaled some pretty toxic stuff, I would imagine.
Well, we just got an update or a message from UPS as of 9:30, and they're saying, we're terribly saddened by the accident tonight in Louisville. Our heartfelt thoughts are with everyone involved. UPS is committed to the safety of our employees, our customers, and the communities we serve. This is particularly true in Louisville, home to our airline and thousands of UPSers. Such a tragedy.
Yeah. Our thoughts are with them.
And they are working with the National Transportation Safety Board for this investigation, who's leading this investigation.
Okay, so the after effects, JCPS is closed tomorrow. TARC is shut down for the evening, but will resume in the morning.
And Ford LAP also being affected. It wasn't initially affected, other than the power, we're told, was knocked out to Ford's LAP there for a bit, and they sheltered in place, working out those details as well.
Okay, once again, in 15 minutes, we should be getting word from Mayor Greenberg. He joined us earlier today. His heart was extremely heavy. He and Rachel also released a statement to us. Their condolences to everyone involved, and this is going to hit him pretty hard. He told us there were 250,000 pounds worth of fuel on board that plane, which caused that massive fireball. Plus, it hit the Kentucky Petroleum Recycling, Inc., which deals with oil and antifreeze recycling, so that was combustible stuff as well. We saw several explosions afterwards, and then it just seemed like down the line, I guess that fuel had spread and ignited all the buildings down on Grade Lane. You can see the runway, how that just kind of lines up with how it just crashed through all the buildings after it ran out of runway.
And we've talked a little bit about that shelter in place 1 mile around the Louisville airport, but the governor said that there was no hazardous items or materials on that UPS cargo plane when it took off. That wasn't, that had nothing to do with the crash, really. The plane did not ignite this shelter in place, so they're still investigating and taking note of the air quality here. So, you know, they're still working on this scene. He mentioned that every single emergency response person in Louisville, every department came to this scene, and a lot of departments around the state, as far away from as Lexington, rushed to Louisville to help out with this crash here. And all over the city.
It was all hands on deck for sure. Okolona Fire was on board. PRP was part of this. It was everyone rushed to the scene to help out. Louisville Fire Department as well. It was just everyone coming together to try to deal with this tragedy in our area today.
And the NTSB is launching a GO team to investigate the crash today of the UPS MD-11 cargo aircraft flight 2976. They're expected to be in Louisville and offer a press conference tomorrow. So we expect to hear from the NTSB tomorrow, the National Transportation Safety Board tomorrow, with an update on their investigation. They're, of course, again, leading this investigation. Which could span many weeks and months. I want to let you know that, again, Ford LAP, which we know is right there off of Grade Lane, was not hit. Several other businesses, though, were affected by this crash when it happened initially. The main area that was hit there, 2 businesses, Kentucky Petroleum Recycling and Grade A Auto Parts, were both heavily affected by this crash, and they were, at last check, still assessing and checking off to make sure all of their folks and customers were accounted for there.
And just got word that the National Transportation Safety Board will leave tomorrow morning and won't get in Louisville until midday tomorrow to assess this situation. So the NTSB arriving tomorrow afternoon. So right now, this is the scene out Grade Lane is where you see those lights that are flashing right outside the International Airport. That UPS plane crashed, killing 4 people. There were 3 crew members. So there's an additional person that had to be deceased on the ground somewhere, and a total of 11 people were injured.
And if you're still looking for somebody, you have a family member or a friend, you're still not sure if they're okay, you can head to the LMPD training facility. They're going to help you out with that. They're asking people not to go to local hospitals checking on loved ones or trying to see if people are okay. They're asking people to go to the family reunification area at the LMPD training facility that's located at 2911 Taylor Boulevard. That location has been provided to establish safe and organized environment connecting families with the right factual accurate information. And that also there at that family reunification area is the American Red Cross will be there providing support and resources for families. LMPD's Victim Services Unit, who specializes in helping people in times of tragedy, assisting with information and guidance, and also chaplains offering emotional and spiritual support during this difficult time for everybody. So if you're not sure, you have a family member you haven't heard from who you think may be affected by this plane crash, or a family or friend, just head on over there to the LMPD Family Reunification area. They'll help you out.
As we await Mayor Craig Greenberg's assessment and press conference of the situation that played out here, the tragedy in Louisville, 4 dead in that UPS plane crash, let's go back to the press conference that happened at 7:30 this evening. Governor Andy Beshear.
Right now, we believe we have at least 3 fatalities. So I believe that number is going to get larger. We have at least 11 injuries, some of them very significant, that are being treated by local hospitals. Again, I think that number will get larger. Right now, we believe that the main area hit consisted of 2 businesses, though we know there were more businesses impacted. The first is Kentucky Petroleum Recycling. We are seeking more information, but it looks like they were hit pretty directly. The second is Grade A Auto Parts. Grade A has been in contact. They've accounted for all of their employees but 2, but they do not know how many other individuals, customers, or others could have been on site at the time. Because of the nature of these facilities, it may be some time before we can account for everyone or know that no one else was on the grounds. Anybody who has seen the images and the video know how violent this crash is. And there are a lot of families that are going to be waiting and wondering for a period of time. We're going to try to get them that information as fast as we can. But if this is a family you know, please give them your support. Please give them your prayers. Please give them your love and be with them, because the toughest moments, and I can say it from personal experience, are when you're wondering whether that person that you know and you care about has survived something like this.
And with that said, as we head into this 10 o'clock press conference, we're going to recap you with the preliminary information from the FAA. UPS Flight 2976 crashed around 5:15 p.m. here on this Tuesday after departing from Louisville Muhammad Ali International Airport here in Louisville, Kentucky. The McDonnell Douglas MD-11 was headed to an international airport in Honolulu, Hawaii, and the FAA and NTSB continue to investigate, and the NTSB will lead this investigation and hopefully provide us with an update sometime tomorrow.
And the governor was prophetic there, because we did lose another one. At the time, there was 3. Now we have 4 fatalities. And we have to note this: U of L Health received 10 patients. 2 are still in the burn center in critical condition, and 2 additional were treated with non-life-threatening injuries. 3 patients with non-life-threatening injuries were treated at U of L Health Mary and Elizabeth, and 2 patients with non-life-threatening injuries were treated at U of L Health South Hospital. 1 patient with non-life-threatening injuries was treated at U of L Health Jewish Hospital. So that's an update on that.
And that shelter in place that was initially 5 miles grew, and now it's been taken back down to 1 mile. Shelter in place if you live or work within 1 mile of the Louisville airport. I want to bring back in Jay Cardosi. Jay, when this initially happened about 5:15, you were able to see the smoke on the radar.
Yeah, no question about it. As a matter of fact, I want to take you back to that. Let me get these graphics ready to go. Okay, let's go over to the graphics here, guys, if you would, and go full screen with this, because again, this was 5 o'clock, okay? Everything was fine. Now watch what happens. There you go. Down near Louisville International. See, it looks like a little thunderstorm blowing up. Well, that was the smoke plume as it was rising up into the atmosphere, and the radar actually captured that and displayed it on the screen there. And then those gentle south breezes we had much of the afternoon into the evening took that smoke plume off to the north, slightly east of north, on into northern and northeastern Jefferson County towards southern Clark County as well. A little bit later on, towards 6:30, 7 o'clock, you can see how the plume really started to dissipate as we mixed up the atmosphere, and also they started to get that fire under control. Now, here's some more good news. This is the current air quality, okay? And you can see I've put Louisville International on the map there. And with the south breezes and immediately north of the crash site, we have an air monitoring station. Right now, it's fair. It's good to fair across much of Jefferson County, just across the river from near downtown into Jeffersonville, Clarksville. It's on the moderate side, but it's still decent. So you can see much of the region right now does have good to fair air quality, and that's another reason why that shelter in place that Jennifer and Rick have been talking about, that was quite big earlier today, all the way from the outer loop on into southern Clark County. Well, that has really been cut back, and I expect that to continue as the night wears on. Now, I'm still getting reports, no question about it, that the odor is still out there in spots, and if you smell it, well, you know what? go ahead and stay inside if you're worried about it, but the officials are saying that the air quality is actually in pretty good shape. Jennifer, Rick?
You know that these first responders are going to be out there for days.
Oh, yeah.
For weeks, probably. What's this going to be like for them tomorrow as far as the weather goes?
Great question. The good news, no rain tomorrow. The thing that they will have to battle, the wind. The wind is going to be picking up. It will become breezy by midday into the afternoon. This will be a southwesterly breeze. That means from the airport, from the crash site, and points northeast on into northeastern Jefferson County. That's where the currents of air will be blowing towards. And Jennifer, Rick, the wind is going to pick up. We're talking gusts 20 to 25 miles per hour in the afternoon with this warmer weather pushing in at least for tomorrow.
Okay. Thanks so much, Jay.
Okay.
We are waiting. 4 minutes away now. We'll let you know when we get a 1 minute or 2 minute warning. Mayor Greenberg will have a press conference for us to give us an update on what he knows. Let's hope that the death toll stays at 4 and doesn't go any higher.
As we wait for that, we want to let you know about the Teamsters who represent UPS workers. Of course, their hearts are broken tonight. They did post on Facebook that in light of the tragic plane accident earlier this evening at UPS Worldport, we've been notified by the company that tonight's next day air sort is canceled and members should remain home so that emergency crews can focus on containing the damage there. Tomorrow's second day air sort is expected to run as scheduled, though the crash occurred after the plane, according to this post, had cleared UPS property. And while we are thankful that this accident occurred away from the vast majority of our members, our hearts break for those who have been injured or lost their lives. Our thoughts are with our union family and their Independent Pilots Association during this tragic moment.
All right, so the airport remains closed until further notice. We're going to hear from the airport authority. They will have a press conference at 10:30 tonight. If you have a flight scheduled in and out, check with your airlines on what is going on with that.
And Dan Mann with the Airport Authority gave an update just a little bit ago, and he mentioned that they are getting some assistance from the Lexington Airport. They're trying to work to get the airport reopened as soon as possible. We know this, we've mentioned it several times tonight. This has a ripple effect, not just on airlines and folks who are trying to fly, but the businesses in the area. So they're asking for patience all the way around.
Yeah, well, TARC was shut down till all tonight, but we'll resume in the morning. With some variations on some of the routes, and expect some delays on that, we're also told.
Yeah, I think we just all need to be a little patient as this all unfolds here in our city, and just maybe remember that there are some folks in our community whose loved ones are not coming home tonight. So.
Well, yeah, exactly. The good news is we're just seeing the flashing lights of the emergency vehicles and no flames. So that is the good news, because it just looked like an inferno that stretched about a third of a mile, quarter of a mile down Grade Lane right outside the airport, just south of the airport.
And we do expect to hear from the NTSB and other officials tomorrow. The NTSB, the National Transportation Safety Board, will lead this investigation as they typically do when we have any sort of airline crash. They have what's called a GO team who will be headed here tomorrow to Louisville to head out that investigation and hopefully give us an update, some sort of update tomorrow afternoon.
NTSB will be on to assess the damage or to look at it tomorrow midday. We are coming up on our 10 o'clock hour, so we'll be simulcasting on MeTV with our newscast, so we'll be starting that. We will have the mayor's press conference coming up at 10 as well, and we will also at 10:30 hear from the airport authority to see what the situation is with the flights coming in and out, when we could see them resuming.
It could be a while.
All right, it is 10 o'clock, and if you're watching us on our newscast, let's set the tone for you. Earlier today at 5:15, UPS Flight 2976 taking off at Louisville International Airport had a problem with an engine. fire roaring out of one of the engines. It fell off. The plane ran out of runway and crashed through the fence into several industrial businesses. It set off a massive fire. In total, 3 people on board the plane, 3 members of UPS, but that has since increased. We now have 4 dead, 11 injured.
And we want to go live now to Vicki Dorch, who is live with the mayor at the airport. Vicki?
Jennifer, Rick, we're standing with Mayor Greenberg. Mayor, tragic night for the city of Louisville, but Louisvillians have risen above before, and they show strength, and they can deal with situations like this.
We definitely do come together in these challenging times, and Rachel and I send our prayers to all of the families of the victims this evening, to the entire UPS family, which is such an integral part of our entire city family, and to the entire city. We've been coming together over the past week to help those in need that have been struggling with hunger and other things in this community, and we'll come together for this to support as well.
What update do you have on the situation right now?
We're going to be providing a full update in about 15 minutes. I'm going to head right to the center right now with the chiefs and everyone from the airport, and we'll be providing an update on everything that we know in about 15 minutes.
All right, we'll be there live, and we'll talk with you again at 11 o'clock. Thank you so much.
Okay, thanks, Vicki.
Thank you. We'll send it back to you guys.
All right, thanks, Vic. 15 minutes. We'll get an update from Mayor Greenberg, and then we'll get a word from the airport authority. I guess they'll probably dovetail off of each other. The airport authority will have a press conference as well.
Yeah, and they mentioned, Dan Mann mentioned that they're trying to get the airport back open. They're calling on their resources and help from Lexington's officials with Lexington's airport to try to get this back open. As of right now, though, SDF is closed along with TSA. So if you have a flight tonight, tomorrow, be sure to keep an eye on your airline as you usually do, but likely some more delayed flights in the future here. Just to update you here, this is a live look from the scene of Louisville's airport. This all started around 5:20 when a UPS plane, a cargo plane departing the west runway there, crashed. We're still at 10 o'clock tonight unsure of exactly the details that led up to and caused this crash. We do, though, hope to get some information and further details